So earlier we talked about intervals such as the whole step and the half steps, but there are also other intervals that span more distance between two notes. So in music, it's important to know intervals because everything in music is made up of intervals. Chords, scales, melodies, anything comes from musical intervals. So let's explore the different types of intervals that we can play in music. Starting with the half step, starting on the third fret of the A string. If I go up one fret, this interval is what we call a half step or a minor second. Now, if I skip a fret and I go from the third to the fifth, this is called a whole step, as we spoke about earlier, but it's also called a major second. If I go from the third to the sixth, this interval is what we call a minor third. If I go one half step further, it's what we call a major third. If I go one half step further, this is what we call a perfect fourth. If I go another half step further, that's what we call diminished fifth or an augmented fourth or a tritone. If I go one half step further, it's what we call a perfect fifth. Now, if I go from the third to the 11th, it's what we call an augmented fifth or a minor sixth. If I go from the third to the 12th, it's what we call a major sixth or a diminished seventh. If I go from the third to the 13th, it's what we call a minor seventh. If I go from the second to the 13th, what we call a major seventh. Then if I go from the second to the 13th, what we call an octave. So it's the same note, but an octave higher.